Now last night, the seniors asked me, is the roast finished? And I said yes, and of course I lied.
Yeah.
So it's a little embarrassing, but I'm going to need some help. And normally, we tutors do this in private. But I have to ask you for some reverent silence while I call upon the master spirits of Anglophone poetry to come to my aid. Oh, great spirits of verse and logos, I, your humble tutor, confess that I didn't do my homework again.
Surprise.
Yet I would do justice on these seniors. And though my powers are vast, yet they are mortal. And I would tweak them immortally. Therefore, if ever I have offered hecatombs that pleased you, or served you here on earth, send your celestial messenger. Give me a sign. A sign.
Are you seeing what happened? Really? Yes.
Who knew the spirits live in Guam, eh? Oh, it's autographed. There, puny human. Now leave us alone. As for Tyler Bradshaw, you're on your own. Nice couplet, eh? T.S. Eliot. April is the cruelest month. Screwing essays out of seer minds, mixing scrivenery with despair, racking dull wits with spring pain. Jan term did us harm, covering dearth in forgetful vice, needing but little talk with snide tutors. Fall term ensnared us, coming over the Berkeley hills on a golden eve wrapped. We tripped down the colonnade and stepped out in twilight in the Fratre's garden and wolfed Dolmas and talked by the hour. Mach gar kein Gedicht bin Aristotelisch, gut Scheiß. And when we were freshmen, straying through our goose.
You got off the list?
That Riley, he sat me down with a chart, and I was frightened. He said, Alex, which Alex are you? And so it went. In seminar, there you feel free. I read much of the night and then go sleep in Gabal's class. Who are the psukai that fledge? What are the spirits that thrive upon such tony rubbish? Son of Ham, you cannot say, for you, as they, know only a heap of stale mathemata where language waits and electives give no respite, seminar no relief, and the new math, no hint of Euclid, only Mayfest. Ladies and gentlemen, tutors and the rest of you, I bring you straight from the celestial London suburb of the infernal St. Louis, Missouri, by the hand of that bard of barbs, Thomas Stearns Eliot, the first and the last terrestrial reading of the old tutor's book of integral brats. Introduction. The blaming of brats. The blaming of brats is an intricate matter. It's more than just one of your Mayfesty games. A freshman throws mud for the sake of the splatter, but a tutor inculpates with 3 different blames. First of all, there's the blame of a failure in breeding, such as slateness, Bradshaw, or Alexia name. The last means, of course, chronic failure of reading, but all unremarkable, work-a-day blame. There's a nastier blame that goes straight for the jugular, apt to embarrass them rich in ill fame, such as Mendozatricious or Gotti Morphologus. Still unremarkable, work-a-day blame. But I tell you, each brat needs a blame indefeasible, a blame irrepeatable, more rarefied. Else how shall the tutor remain unappeasable? Of vanquished detractors, or wax always snide. Of blames of this kind, tutors all know the tupoi, Cazetta smirk, crisscross, or diffidently. Again, re no way gnosis. Eanologoi. Blames that suit just one brat down to the T. But above and beyond, there's one blame, still one blame left over, and that is the blame that you'll never will guess. The blame that no tutor's research can discover, but the brat himself knows and will never confess. When you notice a brat in profound meditation, the reason I tell you is always the same. Her mind is engaged in the rapt contemplation of the fault of her blame, her ineffable, effing ineffable, deep and immutable, integral blame. This is for one who's not here. So, this is for our absent.
Sarah? The only one failed. Roaster. Roaster good.
Roaster real good.
Give her it. Just showed up, dude.
I have a Gumby brat in mind. Her name is Sarah Bakes-a-Lot. Her carriage is upright and kind. Her record is without a blot. All class she smiles upon her chair, or at the door, or at the bench. She smiles and smiles and smiles and smiles, and that's what makes a Gumby wench. But when the lab's hustle and bustle is done, then the Gumby brat's work is but hardly begun. And when all her classmates are off to get lunch, she gathers the fruit flies in one buzzing bunch, for she's dissatisfied with their bloom and confusion, and she wants to inculcate some ordered collusion. So when she has got them in martial formation, she makes them count off one by one in rotation. I have a Gumby brat. Her name is Sarah Bakes-a-Lot. Her equal would be hard to find. She'll giggle at a nice bon mot. All class she smiles upon her chair, or at the door, or at the bench. She smiles and smiles and smiles and smiles, and that's what makes a Gumby wench. But before the lab's hustle and bustle begun, then the Gumby brat's work is at whiles barely done. As she finds that her classmates loathe order and quiet, she's sure it's a function of unsugary diet. And believing that God's an ex nihilo baker, she brings to the lab some sweet tarts, or a cake, or fat bear claws with raisins, or the tiramisu, for by Gumby brat standards, mere donuts won't do. I have a Gumby brat in mind. Her name is Sarah Bakes-a-Lot. The demo bench she likes to shine. She cleans it and cleanses it from graffiti spots. All class, she smiles upon her chair, or at the door, or at the bench. She smiles and smiles and smiles and smiles, because that's what makes a Gumby wench. So for spry Gumby brats, let us now give 3 cheers, on whom well-ordered programs depend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
Just a personal note, I've been waiting 4 years for this. A. Gotti was a bravo brat who liked his living lard. In fact, his baser appetites were normally in charge. And up and down the program, he magnified his feats, rejoicing in his title of the King of Incompletes. His manner and appearance were wrought by fate to please, his gaze direct and steady, his countenance at ease. No grace to him seemed missing, no shadow crossed his light, except as tutors muttered, "Goddamn Gotti just won't write." Freshman of the Codeine race, something of his fame, and sophomores sweating Riley used to mouth in class his name. While bent over their Newton, the juniors passed a look. If Gotti gets away with this, we'll all be off the hook. Now in the limpid spring term bright, all nature seemed at play, but duteous seniors wrote all night to keep Jim Smith at bay. While his wretched classmates squeezed out their tortured prose, the tutors swore this solemn oath: A. Gotti must compose. Thus from the tutor's high command, mandatum stern went out, addressed to Jim, our trusty Smith, reforge this laggard lout. Inform him that no effort else can win him our release, except an exposition full of Tolstoy's War and Peace. Thick darkness closed round Gotti. How shall dire fate forfeit? Until reviving strangely, I'll write it this weekend. He gripped his grandpa's pencil, unused before that hour, and willed that from his fertile brain some thought had come to flower. And lo, his fingers twitching, the pencil moved apace. Across the page, scritching, a light was Gotti's face. And there, emblazoned on the page, A. Gotti's essay stood, proclaiming, war is bad, and then thereafter, peace is good. When news of Gotti's triumph fell upon the juniors' ears, their groans of disappointment mingled with the tutor's cheers, while Gotti modestly observed to those whose hands he shook, I might have done much better if I'd only read the book.